Okay. Many times people ask me, and they're coming with a frustrated mindset. Says, I don't know what God wants from me. I'm angry at God, Chas v'shalom. I'm angry at Hashem. What does God want from me? And I'm trying and things don't work out. I'm about to give up. That's it. I'm angry. Okay. So first of all is, Habibi, chill out, relax. And that's not the way to operate. I'm going to tell you a story. As you all know, I love martial arts. There's a lot to learn from that and to learn from everything else. A story I heard from somebody who was a top kendo practitioner. You know what kendo is? Kendo means, it used to be kenjutsu, which is the way of the sword, when they used to practice with a sword and how to draw the sword in the head and so on and so on. But then it became the way of it's kendo. So they wear a gear, they wear this helmet, look like with a face mask and a whole outfit like this, and they have a special wooden sword that it's made out of few bamboo things had together, and they go like this and they hit each other, and it's very intensive. I don't know, wonderful thing to really be in. And we should see how they practice. Fast and they're accurate. So this guy was almost like an unbeaten, a champ in that. He was the top. So he said, I decided to go to Japan. He went to Japan, he went to this famous teacher, which I don't remember the name that he told me, it was years ago. And he said, I go in and I say, introduce myself and my this and my achievements. And the sensei says, okay, not a problem. He's explaining to me something, and I'm saying to myself, oh, that's kid's game, man, I know that stuff. So then the sensei, I guess he was a very sensitive person, that's why I call him sensei, because he was sensitive, right? He said, okay, come here, I want to explain something to him. So he goes like this, they're standing like this, and as soon as he lifts the thing, comes the sensei with his bamboo stick or whatever, bam, hits him on the palm, really hard, and I mean like right here, in the wrist. And it's painful. So, whoa, he's not used to that. He's used to hit it again, boom, in the same spot, over and over and over again. And the more the sensei hits him there, the more he gets upset. The angrier he gets, and he loses it. Simply loses it. All his, knowledge and facade that he lost it because he started to get angry. Until he understood, he said, listen, I'm doing something wrong here. He's trying to teach me something. I'm doing something wrong here. And it says I humbly move myself to the back and I start like this. And then from that point on, I climb myself back up. God wants to teach us a lesson. I was reading, I told you this many times, I used to read Josephus Flavius, a lot. I wanted to see, what brought us to the situation that we're at today in exile for 2,000 years. What caused us lose the land, lose the temple, lose everything. And I read it so many times, and at a certain point I said, you know what, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. I can't do it to myself. And why is that? Because I saw the repeated pattern. I said, and it didn't make a difference in what decade I read it. It was fitting perfect the situation that we're at. Whether it's war, Jews against Jews, whether it's this party versus the other party. So this time you call it this party and then this party, and back then you used to call it that party, and so on and so forth. And in history it was Mitnagdim versus Hasidim, Sfardim versus Ashkenazim, secular versus religious, Orthodox versus religious this. And I said, I can't do this anymore. The stupidity of us drives me crazy. I get angry here, and I realize there's a lesson here. And the lesson is like this. History does not repeat itself. What repeats itself is historical patterns or patterns of behavior. And if you want to inflict change, you have to get rid of your old habits that brought you into the situation that you're in. God wants to teach us a lesson. There is a lesson that we need to learn. And apparently, we fail on understanding the lesson that needs to be taught. If you're going to look at the time from, let's say, 1948 until today. The further we go into history, the more frequent and painful the lessons are. Right? You had 1948, the War of Independence. Then they had 1956, the campaign in Sinai. Look at the years in between them. Then you have from 56 to 67. We're talking about war. Then for whatever reason, we became very arrogant. So we got a rude awakening in 1973. There was a lesson to learn. And then 81. And from 81 until today, it's every 2 years, one thing after the other, until we got to this horrific situation of October 7th. And for whatever reason, we are still getting bombarded every single day from Lebanon. There is a lesson to learn. We are biting the stick. We are barking at the stick, not realizing who's holding the stick. What's the lesson to be learned? As a nation, we don't learn this lesson. As individuals, we don't learn this lesson. We come with an attitude. I deserve peace and quiet. You don't deserve peace and quiet. You want peace and quiet? Earn it. You can't come complaining to God. Why does God do this? Let's leave us alone, man. We want to live. Ish tachat gafno v'tachat einato. Let us sit under our fig trees and grapes, and we'll drink and we eat smoked meat, and we go to Turkey and we eat the all you can eat, and all included. That's not going to happen. You can't come to complain to God about lack of peace if you don't want to listen to God when He told you this is what you need to do in order to have peace. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us, go in my ways, keep my mitzvot. I'll give you peace. V'natati shalom ba'aretz. You don't want to do it. So if you don't want to listen to what God says, well, what are you complaining, man? He's trying to teach us a lesson. And the lesson must be learned for our benefit and for the benefit of the world. The lesson must be learned. And the closer we are to the date that we need to redeem our ticket, the more intensified the lessons will be, and the urgency and the frequency of those lessons. We're about to turn a corner. And if we don't turn a corner, we're going to roll over. And we need to understand that. We must understand that. We need to get rid of our old bad habits that brought us to the state that we're at. We need to, that's how you inflict change. If you're going to do the same thing, it's like these people that do the same thing over and over and over again, the same mistake over and over again, and after 75 years they call that a life. That's not a life. That's called a failure. I'm not saying you should do every day something different, but if you have bad habits, man, get rid of them. Get rid of your bad habits. This is how you're going to make things change. That's how you're going to make things happen for yourself. So don't come complaining about God. It's just your stupidity and laziness because you don't want to do anything. You have nothing to live for. What do you have to live for? To go to a restaurant once a week and to have your wife do your nails, her nails, and to do a diet. That's what you have to live for? I told you this, there's a beautiful concept in Japanese called ikigai, the meaning of life, or the reason to live. What's your reason to live? To chill out, to relax. What's the reason to live? This is your reason to live. That's what you came here for? I'm sorry, it's a waste of life. It's a waste of life. It's the end of the year almost. I mean, we're almost at the end of the year.
Halfway.
Even more. What do you mean halfway?
No, to Elul.
Talking about, in terms of Elul, I mean, it's right around the corner, it's Rosh Hashanah. And yet the same thing, we're going to come to the same place over again, saying the same thing, davening the same way, not trying to change anything, and saying, you know what could I do? The mistakes that I made this year, which are A, B, C, and D, are not going to repeat themselves. So what I'm going to do? You're going to put the same thing, it's going to be the same thing. And guess what? The exile is going to last not only 2 years, it's going to 2,000 years, it's going to last probably another 2,000 years. Chas v'shalom, God forbid. You want this to end. You want things, you're going to do things the right way. But whatever it is that you do, don't blame God. Blame yourself. Have a great day.